Think about it, it was pretty fun. Um, I ended up being in Bolivia, La Paz, Bolivia, highest capital city in the world. I'm pretty sure that's La Paz, and I'm pretty sure that's where I was. And interesting thing was going on at that time. There was a party going on. I land there, right? I'm from San Francisco, pretty fun liberal city, whatever, right? I land in a faraway place, and as I recall, everybody is dressed. There's a festival going on. It appears to me, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but everybody was dressed in drag. The guys were all dressed as women, and they were acting what appeared to me to be somewhat aggressive. They were stopping cars and demanding money. It was flipping crazy, right? And apparently, the deal is, I could be totally wrong about this, but apparently it had something to do, it was a celebration, something to do with the war, some sort of war. And the idea was that you were representing the widowed, spouses of the victims of that war, and this was kind of like a trick or treat kind of thing. I'm not really sure. And at that stage of my life, I thought potentially the best option was there were these masks that were really cool that you could buy super cheap. Put on a freaking mask, and it was like paper mache. I kept it for a long time. Shame I lost it, but whatever. I used to wear it. Parties, whatever. I think I had some freaking crazy looking face, one way or another. All of a sudden, you're in from out of town, and they don't know you because you got your mask on, so you can blend right in. So I'm full steam into the party. And it was a good party. It was a freaking really fun dancing in the street crazy party, right? And the next day I woke up with a hangover the size of Wyoming. And I have done that enough, and that's annoying, right? Had a propensity to overindulge at the time. Let's just get that clear out in the open. And I did not, part of my motivation for getting to Bolivia, and I don't know how I picked Bolivia, probably a cheap flight. I did a lot of cheap flights, like just freaking go to the travel agency and find out where it's cheap. One way or another, I used to fly these courier flights where they would ship cargo in your luggage space. You could only bring a little freaking carry-on backpack, which is good because really when you're traveling, especially in this country, in the States, we suffer from abundance. You know what I mean? And I'm good when I'm traveling, but here in the States, I have like a Volkswagen Westphalia, not anymore, but I used to camper Volkswagen bus, and it's hard because you're like, I'm going to the mountains, but I might pass the coast, so we can bring a kayak, and we can bring surfboards, and we can bring, in case we meet friends, we might want to bring the raft, more room. So anyway, I like bicycle, freaking you name it, I had it. And when you're traveling, you realize a lot of what you enjoy is the minimalist approach. Everything in your little freaking bag is absolutely imperative. It's your favorite shirt, your favorite flip-flops, your favorite everything, right? And you can wear it every day. My advice, camo. Camo, you can wear every day. I've spent, short trips a week in Central America with one pair of camo shorts. You can't tell if they're dirty. Don't get me wrong. Best to wash them time to time, which you can't do in the sink in your, little room, or, just go swimming with them. I mean, they clean up easy. I usually bring a pair of board shorts for surfing and camo shorts for the road. Anyway, so we're in Bolivia. Okay, I'm losing track here. And party's freaking nuts. And I meet, the nicest people. But I also am, freaking time's coming up. I got the freaking best friends. And I'm like, screw this. I did not come here for this. And I probably was just looking for a distraction. But one way or another, I was like, I don't want to just freaking hang out here. And I go to, I always traveled alone. It's kind of selfish. Go where you want, when you want to. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of making plans. because I don't know what I'm going to feel like the next day. You know what I mean? And this particular day, I felt really flipping hungover and a little bit disappointed that about to waste my first day in Bolivia with a hangover. So I was able to find somebody that sorted out a kayak that I could rent. And I rented a kayak. And there was a river called the Niaku. It's a tributary to the Amazon. So I hop in. Right. So it's all kind of random, and I'm hungover, and I'm like, freaking, looks like a cool kayak. Let's go. And as they drop me off in this like Jeep truck, I don't know, side of freaking nowhere, I get out and I ask them, ¿de qué nivel es el río? And I was trying to ask them what grade the river is, right? And they took it as what level is the river. And the guy said, as they're pulling away, 5 or 6. And a class 6 river is going to kill me. I'm not that good of a kayaker. I spent a little time in Zimbabwe and learned how to kayak on the Zambezi River, but don't let me overstate it. I learned how to flip and survive. And I made a lot of stupid choices. I just happened to be there. My friends were kayaking. I wanted to kayak too. So, that's class 5, big volume whitewater. This is class 6 is just, I'm not going to live. I'm by myself. It's a real problem. They pull away and I'm in the flipping Amazon at this point. Now, don't get me wrong. There's more remote parts of the Amazon, but it's all the same. It's a pretty flipping big jungle. I didn't really make a lot of plans. So, I am tripping. Yeah, they pull away and I'm like, oh my God. Like, the river only goes down to the next village, and I got to get to another village before I can come out. I'm going to die. This sucks. So I try and freaking pull myself together in my scattered state. And I paddle over to the other side, get on my kayak, and it's just unsettled soil. Well, that's what quicksand is, right? Anyway, step out, boom, immediately, I don't think I was all the way to my waist, but it was pretty freaking close, right? So I'm like, oh my God, I didn't even freaking paddle down the river, and nothing, things aren't looking good. Turns out it was just like mucky, sandy stuff, right? So I pull it together, and the one thing was, I kept on asking them where, the most dangerous part of the river was, and turn left, turn right, big tree, whatever, freaking jungle, all looks the same. It's really dense, by the way. If you want to see wildlife, the savannas in Africa are where you see the wildlife. You see wildlife in the freaking jungle in the Amazon, you are way too flipping close because it's so dense. It's crazy. I'm trying to think, where the heck was it? This is the same trip. That's right. We went through the freaking jungle with the medicine man. It's crazy. Tell you about it. Getting there. Focus. But anyway, so I kind of sort of get out of the mud, kayaking down the river, tripping, hope everything's okay. It's really beautiful. Very, very exciting. I had not spent much time in the Amazon. So I'm looking around, kayaking, and I'm checking out this river, and I'm like, this is not class 5 or 6 whitewater. What is going on? And I sort out what had happened, and it turns out I'm not going to die, and I'm really excited about it. And by the time I get to that area where they're talking about this bit of a pour-over, I'm not really thinking much of it because I'm just celebrating the fact that I'm going to live, right? And so I see a little bit of excitement. I head straight toward it, and I don't know really exactly what happened. I'm fairly sure that I had flipped over, which is not uncommon when you're in a whitewater, kayak, roll back up. But when I roll back up, I do know at some point there was an equipment failure. Equipment failures, when you're doing kind of extreme things, suck. It can be lethal. And in this case, it wasn't lethal, but I had to freaking bail from the boat. Yeah, I bailed from the boat. I'm more chill, experienced kayaker would have figured out the other side of the paddle. I had to rolled up that way, but I was just like, this ain't good. And you're by your flipping self in a pretty big jungle. So you not only need to freaking get out of the boat because you're upside down and you can't breathe, but you got to make sure you don't lose a single freaking piece of any of this. I've had a couple situations like this. Very uncomfortable. But so now I freaking bail from the boat, pull the spray deck, grab my things, get to the side of the river, and I'm like, pulling it together. Little dude at the side of the river is, like looking at me like, what are you flipping doing, my God? Like, dude, come on, what's up? And I'm like super excited to see that there's another human there, right? And he spoke Spanish. I speak Spanish. I don't know how much Spanish he spoke, but he spoke enough to be able to communicate with me because he was part of a Quechua tribe. There's a tribe, Quechua natives. So I, kind of freaking grabbing my things, side of the river, pulling it together. And I said, hey, you got a village around here? He's like, yeah. I'm like, where is it? It's like just over the hill. Like, any chance you could take me down? A little bit of a jam. He's like, yeah, whatever, right? Very nice kid, kind of quiet. So I had good luck. Kids have really helped me out from time to time. So one time, one idiot, right? I don't know. There was a fence, and I, kind of being young and ambitious, thought, what the heck, I can climb that fence because it was keeping me off this beach. But it happened to be up near the DMZ, and I was in South Korea. Turns out if I got over that fence where I was going to sleep, there was landmines and snipers, and they would have, I wouldn't have done well. Nice little kid tripping, pulling me off the fence, and I'm like, dude, freaking chill. Insisted that I slept in his barn loft, really nice. Anyway, went back the next day, realized he kind of saved my life. Kids are freaking wonderful that way. And I went back to go find him, thank him. But I didn't speak Korean. And I couldn't find the place. So if you are him, I'd like to say thank you very much, seriously. So let's see. I'm cruising down the river. Oh yeah. So the kid takes me to this village. And he gets to the edge of the village and he says, ¿Tiene madre? Do you have a mother? I said, yeah. He said, yo no, se murió ayer. And he walked away. His mom had died the night before. The poor kid was mourning the death of his mother at the side of the river. I had no idea. And obviously it wasn't my intention, but I feel bad for the kid having interrupted him. Who knows? Maybe it was I don't know. Anyway, so I walk into the village, and they don't speak Spanish or English, and there's a couple people there that do speak Spanish, and the one guy quite nice, and I end up staying. It was kind of funny as he introduced me to the chief of the tribe. The chief, I was like, yeah. Maybe I could rent a room. And the chief kind of had this ever so sort of confident nod, like as a matter of fact. And I just got this cool little bungalow. I go to sleep, and in the morning, the whole village is freaking standing around and watching me sleep, right? And this is actually not that uncommon, because I travel kind of remote places and often wake up and people are just like, no, this is freaking Gringo in a hammock or whatever, right? It's good. It's kind of interesting. I love kids. It's really fun. The kids are like hiding behind bags of rice and like, no way, he moved. But anyway, I wake up and this was, not terribly unusual. But later I saw that the reason why the chief was so excited about it is he had heard about the tourist industry. And figured, you know what? This would be good for my village. So they had built these cabañas, and these little freaking cabins, right? And apparently I was the first guest. And things rot really fast in the Amazon because it's wet, whatever. And I found, after I'd stayed in the village for a little bit of time, I saw in the mud laying down a sign that pointed to the cabañas. And I'd been there for a while and nobody had stayed in the cabaña, so I'm sure the chief was a little bit confused, feel bad for him, you know what I mean? But I didn't have the heart. I don't think it was my place to say, look, dude, nobody knows your village is here. You're not going to get a lot of pedestrian traffic, He was happy, I was happy, everybody was happy, and I thought it was best to leave it that way. Here's some other fun things that happened on that trip, right? So, I'm a landscape designer. I work with plants. So the medicine man takes me through the jungle to show me all the medicinal plants. Now, he speaks Quechua, and I don't understand a word of it. But he was happy talking. I was happy going along for the ride. And you're walking through the jungle. It's intense, man. The jungle at times, it's like steep like this. And, yeah, I mean, it's huge jungle, a lot of different things going on. But, so there's times when you're just pulling up vines, going up the steepest hill, you're walking on a freaking ridge. I mean, it seemed to me like maybe just aquatic erosion. Who knows, right? Form these like crazy things, but you can't really tell them. Like when you find ruins in the jungle, you don't even know they're ruins. It looks like a flipping hill. Turns out it's a pyramid, right? So in this case, we're cruising and walking on top of things. Just, you can't see anything. Jungle's really thick. You take a machete, you just slice through. Don't swing a machete really hard. That's just stupid. You just freaking do, let the machete do the work, right? Anyway, we're cruising around. It shows me a lot of plants. Really cool stuff to know. I wish I understood. At some points, the water would have eroded many little canyons. So you'd be 15 feet, 20 feet below ground as an insect would scurry through like blades of grass, which is what it feels like when you are walking through a bamboo forest. In this case, it would be like an ant going through the cracks of the sidewalk. I don't know. But really narrow, and occasionally some bats fly by and little freaking water that you're walking in. You're basically walking in a little river, like a little canyon. Miniature little canyon type thing, right? Sometimes white something, wide open, pretty fun. Anyway, get back from my little tour with the medicine man. And the village, they're very intelligent. They've been there for a while. They know how to live. They had dammed up the river. Now, I think this wouldn't have been the whole Hatniaku. It was a relatively small creek. And they dammed it up, and that area was fairly flat. So they could create a dam. Water would just go off, I don't know, to the jungle, right? This village was small. I'm thinking, a couple hundred people maybe. But anyway, so I believe, as they explained to me, the translator told me, I think like every 6 months they will do this, and potentially because I was guest, they did it at that time. But they dammed up the river, and it caused the river to go essentially dry. And the reason why they did that was they could catch these fish and eat them. It's kind of whatever, delicacy. Everything's a delicacy, or otherwise you call it survival. I don't know that they think of it as a delicacy. They think about it as, food. But Plastomus, I believe, is the name of the suckerfish that you have on your freshwater aquariums, tanks here in the States, or around the world. It's a suckerfish, cleans your freaking glass, and it's gross looking, like a prehistoric, nasty looking thing. Well, as it turns out, if you're staying with the Quechua Indians in the Amazon, that's what you eat, at least at that time. And when I'm traveling, it's not up to me to be, they brought me the first one, like, yo, let's check it out. I'm like, thank you. I can't very well be like, sorry, I'm, looking for a Hot Pocket. So, pop them in your mouth, squirming around, chew them up, eat them. I did find that they gave me the biggest one, which was pretty freaking big. Had a big belly. Almost felt like you wanted to clean it, but they didn't clean, to get the stuff out of the stomach. They didn't clean it. That one, they did throw in a banana leaf and put it on the fire, which helped. Because chopping that, it's kind of nasty, right? Anyway, so we ate a lot of fish. That was kind of cool. I left my, I forgot it. Let me think. So we're doing that. We're catching those fish. I know, this was interesting, right? One of the things that was interesting was if the fish were still, the pool, little bit of water left in the creek was too deep, you couldn't catch it. If it was annoying, you took this branch and you smashed it together and it made a milky white sap that you put in the water, and it freaking seems to have poisoned the fish, which meant you could catch them. Now, I don't know, my conservative thinking ways, I'm like, well, if it poisoned the fish, does it poison me? And I asked, and I'm probably a fairly typical, American, expressive. These cats are like chill and they're contemplative, and I like it. I wish I had some of those characteristics. I don't, so I will not, beat myself up over that. But, they sort of looked at each other, nodded, and they pointed to a marker, indication that somebody had died. And they said, no, it doesn't kill you except for him. Now, I suspect he died from something else. because I later came to see on like the Discovery Channel or something like that. I believe the plant that they're using is called the Buddleia. Buddleia is a commonly called butterfly bush here in the States. It attracts butterflies. Kind of needs a lot of room. I wouldn't suggest using it in a tight urban setting, but if you live in the country, nice plant. And the sap apparently reduces the fish's ability to process oxygen out of the water. So for that reason, kind of like, I don't know if it totally kills them, but it doesn't kill you. Anyway, that sometime later, the other thing that was pretty cool was, incidentally, I should clarify, I got all the parts of my kayak together. The end of the paddle had come off, put it back together. So now I was, equipped to leave, but I like the village. And so they then found out that, I don't know, I guess we were, it was a good idea to call the medicine man. No, the shaman. Shaman from another village over. And I was like, wow, yeah, this shaman ceremony sounds really cool. Culture, I like it, let's do it. So it was an interesting process. Guy shows up, he's not like bells and whistles, he's a freaking regular guy. We wait for a long time. As it turns out, apparently tobacco was part of the ceremony. But I'm waiting, thinking, waiting for the sky to open. I don't know. Turns out I'm waiting for somebody to bring him cigarettes, tobacco, anyway, we do this process. I believe part of it is you're sort of scaring away the bad, spirits, invite in good ones, one way or another. It was cool. I want to be attentive. Don't overtrip. See what's really happening, right? So I'm very, sort of conscious of what's going on. And the translator, nice guy, spent time on the outside, was translating everything, and it was really kind of cool. But I found that I was like, I think at this point I'm in the freaking Amazon, stars are bright, life is good. I think I'm good. I don't, want a translator with me the whole time, so I let him know I'm cool. Wander down to where we were eating all the fish, and it occurred to me that estoy. I am. That's it. I just was, and what I was a plant. And let me tell you, firsthand, I can tell you that the plants in the Amazon are very happy. They're not wondering if their leaves are green enough, if they're tall enough. They have no social issues. They live symbiotically with the plants all around them. The shade from above and the microorganisms down below. All very, very nice. Now, look, that's kind of crazy, a little wacky. But I don't know. I was like, this is cool. And it wasn't some psychedelic, insanity. I was just like, wow. This is what I'm feeling and experiencing right now. I'm not freaking trying to grow or anything. I was just like chilling out, like, dude, this is freaking cool. I'm going to come back tomorrow and do it. Here's the disappointment, right? I come back the next day. I'm like, I wake up in my freaking little bungalow. People are watching. I'm like, I'm going to go be a plant today. Turns out you can only do it. I don't know. I've never did it again. I don't know that. Some things are so cool. You're better off just letting it be what it is. Oh, I guess I should explain. I did finally get my kayak together, get downriver, get out. But I think that's it. That was Believe Bolivia.